The tsunami. A tsunami is a very large and powerful wave caused by earthquakes under the sea. On 26 December 2004, a tsunami hit Thailand and parts of India such as the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Tamil Nadu coast. Here are some stories of courage and survival. Did animals sense that a tsunami was coming? Some stories suggest that they do. Tsunami aming chu kan che wang tro tsunami chu tui lian ani. Chuanin engtinge tsunami hi alo engtinge tsunami hi alo in siam kan ti chuanin tui pui chunga khanin lei hnuai mo tui pui hnuaia lei a khanin lir alo ngin khanin tui pui hi a ti che thin ani tro tui kha a phone dan kha ana in ana lo thin ani tui lir ngin kha anan lo chuanin tui pui mo tui phone te kha ana lo ani ma se lir ngin kha anat pau le a rei pau le tui a chet dan mo a om dan kha tui phone dan kha ana thin ani cha angin rei pau le tui a phone kha ana tel tela chumi chuan tui lian a siam thin ni chu tui lian chu tsunami chu ni okay chuan December ni somni paruk sang ni palia tsunami rap thak tak atle ni chu Thailand mun sang a chiatna rap thak tak a thlenga chu tiang bokin Andaman and Nicobar Island chen mo he tsunami wang hianin chiatna te a thlenga chu tiang bokin Tamil Nadu dai kaya mo Tamil Nadu bul hnai vela po he tsunami December ni somni paruk sang ni palia hianin chiatna rap thak tak alo thleng ve tho ani a thlen ni a in ang vek ani chu okay mun sang a he tsunami hianin thina tam tak chiatna rap thak tak a thlen ani okay chu mi a an thil ton tam tak mo then khat te chu hemi lesson a hianin kan zir don ani chuan hemi lesson hi part 1 2 3 in an thliar sanga tuna part 1 kan lo enchiang okay these stories are all from the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago. Chuanin hemi lesson hi part 1 2 3 in an thliar sanga an thil ton mo hemi chiatna tsunami awanga chiatna thleng sang kha part 1 2 3 a kan enchiang don ani kan zir chiang don ani alright now let's begin with part 1. These stories are from the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago. Ignatius was the manager of a cooperative society in Kachal. His wife woke him up at 6 a.m. because she felt an earthquake. Ignatius carefully took his television set off its table and put it down on the ground so that it would not fall and break. Then the family rushed out of the house. When the tremors stopped, they saw the sea rising. In the chaos and confusion, two of his children caught hold of the hands of their mother's father and mother's brother and rushed in the opposite direction. He never saw them again. His wife was also swept away. Only the three other children who came with him were saved. Ama sabera chon Ignatius di papakat Ignatius di aming chu Ignatius ani. Alright. Kan lo mo ni. Hemi te chung ko he anupui khan he pa hi anupui khan in jing da ru ka akai tho ni chu lir hing ti a sha awang khan in apasal kha man mo tak khan akai tho ni chu cham Ignatius hen an TV te kha dokan an da te kha chwata te ada chan chu lir kha angin sa chuanin TV kha a thladon sia khatiang te kha alo ven thon awang khanin TV te kha chwata da ni ma se lir ngin kha a zia om lam kha pan thei te reng lova an da sa tel tela chu tia lir ni an na sa tel tel awang chuanin an chung kwa khanin an hlo awangin in tang kha an tlan chhuak ani chuanin tuipui mo lui tuipui bula om an ni ti kha lo chewila lo chin chia chewila chuan chutia an in atanga an tlan chhuak chuanin an hmazona khanin tui lian tur mo tui lo sang tel tel tuipui phone selo tuk kha an hmu ni chuan voi le khata chu tui lui chu tuipui chu aron tle don ani ti kha an shet awang khanin a fa te pahnih chuan an pu le an pate chu kain tui omlo na lama chuan an tlan chhet san ani mahse voi le khata chu tui pui mo so sang lutuk mai chu aron tle thlata ni chu a fa te pahnih le anupuya pa le anupuya unau pa te chu voi le khata khan chu tui pui chuan ala ta ni mo chuanin a nupui pawh chu chumi nu lawk chuanin tui tsunami chuanin ala tel ve le a chu a nupui fanau te a chung te a hmuh nu nun ber ani van nei thlak takin Ignatius hi alo in saseng hmana ama le naupang pathum a ruala kalte a ruala chhuak te kha an him phah ta ani amai ro chu a nupui fanau te a chung te zawng zawng kha hemi ni hianin a chan phah ta ni okay. Next, we have Sanjeev. Sanjeev was a policeman serving in the Kachal island of the Nicobar group of islands. He somehow managed to save himself, his wife, and his baby daughter from the waves. But then he heard cries for help from the wife of John, the guest house cook. Sanjeev jumped into the water to rescue her, but they were both swept away. Adodlia chuanin Sanjeev tikan moni Sanjeev hi sipai ania. Chuan van nei thlang takin he tsunami mo a tle lai hian lirang hin lai khanin a nupui le a fanu te kha a lo chan hi manani an lo in saseng manani mahse chutia himdam taka an awm lai chuanin an siam tupa mo an kuk nupui chu tuya tla tuya min tran pui ro tia lo au chu a hmuta ni chuanin a khawng em awang khanin tuya chuanin a zuang lut ve ta a chan chhuah tumna lama khanin he tsunami wang hianin an pahnih khanin nunna an chan pha le ta ni chu okay Sanjeev chuan anupui le a fa te ero chu a chan hi hmana midang mi a chan tumna lama khanin a chan tum le ama chuan nunna an chan pha ta ni okay. Next, we have 13-year-old Meghna was swept away along with her parents and 77 other people. She spent 2 days floating in the sea, holding on to a wooden door. 11 times she saw relief helicopters overhead, but they did not see her. She was brought to the shore by a wave and was found walking on the seashore in a daze. Adodlea kumsom patummi Meghna kanhuni. Meghna hi he tsunami hianin ama le anu le pa te le mi somsari pasari lai kha tui lian hen he tsunami hianin ala ani okay mahse van nei thak takin he kumsom pa thum no pang hianin tle rol hianin a in ham tan na tur kha a hmu ni chu okay anu le pa te le mi tam tak kha a len bo to ni ma in zon ngai na kha om to lo ni tui kha a phone kha an a sia hleuh tum ma se a theidon si lowa mo tuya khanin thil hrang hrang om ve ti kha lo hre theuhila lo mi thla te lila motor te in chhia te thingkung te tam tak kha tui chhungah te mo tui chungah te pawh an awm ani chumia chuanin he kumsawm pathum tleirol naupang hianin a in ham tan na tur kha a hmu ta ni thing mo kawngkhar thing chungah khanin a lawn ta ni chuanin he thing kawngkhar ah hianin nihnih lai a mu ni chu nihnih lai kha tuiah chuanin a awm ani chu voice pakhat lai kha helicopter chanpui ngai an awm em daman la awm em chhanchhaw ngai a awm em tia rawn zawng tu te kha voice pakhat lai an rawn kal a mahse he hmeichhe naupang hi an hmu si lowa maw a chan chu tuiah khanin kan sawi tak ang khan thil chi hrang hrang kha a awm ve theuh ani chu thingkung te mithi tawh te maw ruang te pawh a awm ang chutiang karah chuanin he hmeichhe naupang hi a lo awm ve renga mahse an hmu si lowa chuanin nihnih hnuah maw nihnih hnuah chuanin tuipui dai kaiah khanin he a chuanna thing kawngkhar nen hianin a rawn thleng ta nawl ani chu chuanin amah chu a nu leh pa te erawh chu he tsunami wang hianin an boral a an in hlo a chuan amah hi van nei thlak takin a dam chhuak ta ni chu okay next we have Alma Javed was 10 years old. She was a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair where her father had a petrol pump. Her mother, Rahila's home was in Nankari Island. The family had gone there to celebrate Christmas. When the tremors came early in the morning, the family was sleeping. Alma's father saw the sea water recede. He understood that the water would come rushing back with great force. He woke everyone up and tried to rush them to a safer place. As they ran, her grandfather was hit on the head by something, and he fell down. Her father rushed to help him. Then came the first giant wave that swept both of them away. Alma's mother and aunts stood clinging to the leaves of a coconut tree, calling out to her. A wave uprooted the tree, and they too were washed away. Alma saw a log of wood floating. She climbed onto it. Then she fainted. When she woke up, she was in a hospital in Camorta. From there, she was brought to Port Blair. The little girl does not want to talk about the incident with anyone. She is still traumatized. Atobera chuanin pardwena atobera chuanin alma javet ti kan moni he kumsom no pang hi an chung ko in hemi tsunami tlela hianin an omho ni chan apa khanin almai pa hianin tuipui mo tsunami tle tur kha tuipui tui lian tur kha a hmu ni chu chuanin voile kha ta tui kha aron tle thut ton mo tui aron tle thut ton ti a hriat awang khanin a chung te zong zong kha a kai thawa in a tang khanin a tlan chhuah pui ani in sasing man tur khanin man mo tak khan an tlan chhe ani ma se chute an tlan chet lai chu almai pu chu aluwa khan engemaw kha aron tla ni chu chuanin a pu chu a tluta ni chu chuan almai pa khanin a chan tumna lamah khanin tui lian chu a rawn tleh ta ni voile khata han a rawn tleh ta thuta an pahnih chuanin tui chuanin a la tel ta ni chu okay almai pa leh a pu chu chuan an mah ni pawh chu tuiah chuanin chu tui ah pawh chuanin an chhungkah chuan an awm ta vek tho ani chu almai te a nu te an ni te ho pawh kha tui chuan a la tho ani chu mahse almai nu te leh an ni te leh almai te kha in ham tan na tur kha an hmu ni chu almai nu leh an ni te ho kha coconut kungah maw coconut thingkung an a hna angah khanin an in ham tang ani chu chuan almai kha hetlama lo kal rawh tih khan an ko vak vak lai te khanin chu he i tui lian maw a force ana kan tih kha a tui phone kha a nat em awangin almai nu leh an ni te pawh chu he tsunami hian a la tel ve le a almai erawh chu a in ham tan na ah khanin nget takin a beta he tui lian hianin a la tel ve lova maw chuanin a in ham tan na tur dang a zawng le a thing maw thing lian pui kha a hmu a chumi chungah chuanin a lawn kaia a mu ta ni chuan a thi dang ta a chuanin a lo har le meu chuanin hospital maw Kamorta hospital a lo awm a cha a chhung khat laina te zawng zawng chu he tui lian hianin a laksaka almai erawh chu a dam takin a awm a maw a nunna chan lovin a awm a amaherawh chu a thil tawn awang khanin tu bulah ma a thil tawn te kha a hrilh duh lova a chan chu enge ama a hlo em awang ten maw maka tih wang ten a thil tawn kha a rap thlak em awang khanin tu hma bulah engmah a hrilh duh lova a ngawi reng ani an ti okay that is part 1 part 1 a chhung ko pali ina an thil tawn ang te kan zir chiang ani okay now part 2 a Tilly Smith, a British schoolgirl, was able to save many lives when the tsunami struck Phuket Beach in Thailand. Though she has won a number of awards, her parents have not allowed their daughter to be interviewed on television and made into a heroine. Why do you think that they took that decision? Now, part 2 at Tuanin, may tinopang pakhat Tilly Smith ti kan mo ni. He Tilly Smith hianin. He tsunami lo tlela hian mi tam tak nun na a chan him sa ni. Eng ti nge he heng ho zong mi tam tak nun na a chan him. Ti chu kan lo zir chang do na ni. Okay. Now here is a story from Thailand. The Smith family from southeast England were celebrating Christmas at a beach resort in southern Thailand. Tilly Smith was a 10-year-old girl. Her sister was 7 years old. Their parents were Penny and Colin Smith. It was 26 December 2004. Deadly tsunami waves were already on their way. They had been triggered by a massive earthquake off northern Sumatra earlier that morning. The water was swelling and kept coming in, Penny Smith remembered. The beach was getting smaller and smaller. I didn't know what was happening. Chuanin part 2 a chuanin Tilly Smith kumsom no pang mo zirlai no pang kan mu ni an chung kwa khanin Thailand na Christmas mang tur khan an zin ani chuan chutia anom lai chuan December ni somni paruka tho chuanin lirang hin phot kha mo lirang hi ngani chuanin chumi hnuah chuanin lirang hi na sadla tuka wang khanin engting enge thil thleng enge lo om dawn tih kha an chi thiam lo ani mase lir hin kha an sat em awang khanin in in enge biruk na tur mo an chianna alo thlen hma a engting nge kan lo in ven himang ti anga an zon lai khanin heng ho mi tam tak kha an tlan chhia ni an mani chumi tlan chhe zinga pawh chuanin he mi te chung kwa chili smith te chung kwa pawh hi an tel ve ani chuan chili smith khanin beach a kanom te khanin tui kha enge aron a force na ni ati chuanin tui kha tianin voile khata khanin amo kan hma zona khanin tui kha aso sang he sang tel tela tui te kha a phuan na sala to ka ati enge thil thleng tur kha ka thiam si lawa lir te kha anging na sa box sia enge tui te kha a phuan na sa sia tui te kha a force na sia phone dan te kha he adik lo ani ema se enga tinge hetia a om chan ti kha ka thiam si lawa ti khanin asoyani alright. But Tilly Smith sensed that something was wrong. Her mind kept going back to a geography lesson she had taken in England just 2 weeks before she flew out to Thailand with her family. Tilly saw the sea slowly rising and start to foam, bubble, and form whirlpools. She remembered that she had seen this in class in a video of a tsunami that had hit the Hawaiian Islands in 1946. Her geography teacher had shown her class the video and told them that tsunamis can be caused by earthquakes, volcanoes, and landslides. Tilly started to scream at her family to get off the beach. She talked about an earthquake under the sea. She got more upset. She got more and more hysterical, said her mother, Penny. I didn't know what a tsunami was, but seeing my daughter so frightened, I thought something serious must be going on. Tilly's parents took her and her sister away from the beach to the swimming pool at the hotel. A number of other tourists also left the beach with them. Then it was as if the entire sea had come out after them. I was screaming, "Run!" The family took refuge in the third floor of the hotel. The building withstood the surge of 3 tsunami waves. If they had stayed on the beach, they would not have been alive. The Smiths later met other tourists who had lost entire families. Thanks to Tilly and her geography lesson, they had been forewarned. Tilly went back to her school in England and told her classmates her terrifying tale. Chuan he kumsom no pang hianin kan soita kan khanin thil dik lo ani ti kha asya ni to tui te kha enge tui lian turang deuh ang te khanin tui phone te kha ana a tui te kha aron phwan ber ber ani ati chuan an zin hma a an geography class a an zirtir tu pa ina a zirtir mo kha ashe chhuak ani kumsang khat zakwa somli paruk Hawaii a khanin tsunami lo te to ni so engting nge tsunami hi alo in siam ti te kha an zirtir tu pa chuan a hrilani he tsunami hi lerhing wangten volcano wangten landslides wangten tsunami a om thei ani ati chuanin khakha hrethiamin Tilly Smith chuanin anute hnena khanin enge thil rap thak tak a thleng dawn ani kan sia ngu ka so nang u ti khanin anute kha achung te kha a hrit bawk bawk ani chu okay so achung te khanin enge tsunami ti kha an che si lawa mase an fanu an en khanin a hlau thon em awang khanin ati ang chuanin an tia an tlan cheta ni beach atang chuanin an tlan bo ta ni an kalsan ta ni mo beach kha chuan hotel pakhata an luta third floor a an omani chu chuanin voile khata chu tia an tlan chiat hnu chuanin an mani mo anin saseng hnu chuanin voile khata tsunami chu tui lian chu aron tle ta ni chu mase van nei tlang takin an omna building mo a third floor kha he tsunami hi voi thum lai aron tle ni tui lian kha voi thum lai a tle ni chu mase van nei tlang takin an omna lai chu a him shama mo an mani chungkwa Tilly Smith kha a lo ema wangin a chungten an tlan chiat pui rual khanin itu beacha mi tam tak mo zin mi ho po chungkwa tam tak omte mo chungkwa lo po mi shim chumi beacha omte kha he hemi te chungkwa Tilly Smith te awang hianin an tlan cheve ni chuanin an mani chu an zuya chumi hotel third floor ah chuanin an om thapani an tang thapani ma se chu chu an van neina atla a tsunami kha lianing te kha nasa takin ron tle ma se an omna kha an hima chuan mi tam takin nun na an chan lain he an mani omna hmun mo an tan na hmun hotel chu ading tata tlulovin engma chiat na pawh thleng lovin an zawai chuanin an nun na a him phah ta ni chuanin he hmeichhe naupang kum mi hianina geography mo an zin hma a an skula geography class a tsunami lo awm dan te enge tsunami chu ni mo tsunami engtin nge alo insiam ti ang te alo zir kha a hman tangkai awangin ama le a chung te le mi tam tak nun na a chan him phah ta ni alright and that is part 2. Okay, moving on to part 3. Before the giant waves slammed into the coast in India and Sri Lanka, wild and domestic animals seemed to know what was about to happen. They fled to safety. According to eyewitness accounts, elephants screamed and ran for higher ground. Dogs refused to go outdoors. Flamingos abandoned their low-lying breeding areas, and zoo animals rushed into their shelters and could not be enticed to come back out. Many people believe that animals possessed a sixth sense and know when the earth is going to shake. Some experts believe that animals' more acute hearing helps them to hear or feel the earth's vibration. They can sense an approaching disaster long before humans realize what's going to happen. Chuan hemi omzia chu ran sa te hianina thil emo lo hriat lok thein an nei ani an ti thin ani antirna li hing don te amo engemaw thil chhiat na ra thlak tak tak alo thlen don hianin ram sa te hianin an chi thei an ti thin ani mo chuan hemi December ni somni paruk po hianin India le Sri Lanka daikaya tsunami hi atle ve ni kan ti kha mo chuan hemi mun pakhata hianin mi na an hmu mo an thil soile an thil lo ton te an mitina an hmu an soile na chuanin sai te kha an sham vak vaka mo hmun sang a tlan chiat na tur te an zonga an tlan che dum ani an ti chuanin ui then khat te po ui tam tak po na chuak du lovin in an bi rutlata chuanin flamingos ti chu sava ani okay flamingos te po an om na hmun atang chuanin an tlan bowa an thlawk bowa chuanin zoo a ramsa an dah ho te po an buka an in mo an buka te an om tlata an bi rutlata tu ma kha pon chhuak turin an nor lui theilo ani enge chan kan ti chuanin kan soita kan khanin ramsa te hianin chiat na thil lo thleng tu te hi an lo hrilok thei ani an ti thin ani okay. We cannot be sure whether animals have a sixth sense or not, but the fact is that the giant waves that rolled through the Indian Ocean killed more than 150,000 people in a dozen countries, but not many animals have been reported dead. Along India's Cuddler coast, where thousands of people perished, buffaloes, goats, and dogs were found unharmed. The Yala National Park in Sri Lanka is home to a variety of animals, including elephants, leopards, and 130 species of birds. 60 visitors were washed away from the Patanangala beach inside the park, but no animal carcasses were found, except for 2 water buffaloes. About an hour before the tsunami hit, people at Yala National Park had observed 3 elephants running away from the Patanangala beach. A Sri Lankan gentleman who lives on the coast near Gale said his 2 dogs would not go for their daily run on the beach. They are usually excited to go on this outing, he said. But on that day they refused to go, and most probably saved his life. Okay, Janin tsunami te amo li nghieng wang te amo eng po hei landslides wang ten amo nge tornado kan ti ang te mo het yang wang hianin mi tam takin nun na an chan thin ani mo mi tam takin mun sang sang ram sang sang nun na an chan thin ani ma se het yang mo chiat na alo thena mi chu mi ti za chu an thi to ti an soi thin hianin heng ramsa ho hi chumi za chu athi to ti hi soi a awm ve ngai vak lo ani an ti enge chan kan ti chuan kan soi ta kan khanin thil lo hriat lawk theina mo enge chiat na ra thlak tak tak te alo thlen ma hianin an lo hri lawk thei ani khawvel hei enge thil lo thleng tur hriat lawk theina an nei thin wang hi niang an mani an lo in sa seng vat vat zel wang hi niang tuma tiang thil rap thlak tak tak thleng lo thleng thin ma se mi tam takin nun a chan thin ma se ramsa chu tiang za chu an thi eti soi hi a awm ve ngai lo reng reng ti in an soi ani okay chuan hemi December ni somni paruk sang ni pali a Sri Lanka a tsunami wanga chiatna thleng a pawh hianin Yala National Park tia chuanin he tsunami hianin chiatna a thlen ve ani okay chutah chuanin hemi national park tlawh tu te zinga khanin mi somruk lain nunna an chan ani chu mahse chutiang zinga chuanin chumi national park a ramsa tam tak awm kha nunna chan tur soiti tur kha an awm vak lo ani chu buffalo mo loi kan ti ang ho kha pahnih chawin nunna an chana ti lova chuanin khata national park a ramsa dang awm zawng zawng kha tuma nunna an chan lo ani okay khami a tlawh tu mo a mihring national park tlawh tu te zinga khanin mi somruk lai khanin nunna an chan ani okay chuan hemi last paragraph a Sri Lanka a pa pakhat chuanin ka ui pahnih te hi ni tin ka wak pu thina mahse khami ni December ni somni paruk ni khanin an chhuak pawh an chhuak du tat tat lo ani chu ati ni dang chu ni se man hmawh takin an tlan chhuak thin sia khami ni khanin pawn an chhuak du me lo enge chan ka hri thiam chi lova kan chhuar lo phah ringawt a ati chuan an chhuar lo tak awang chuan an mani pawh chu nun na chan lovin an dam phah ta ani okay a ui te pahnih awang chuanin hepa hianin a nunna a hlo lo phah ani okay chuan hemi third paragraph chuanin heta lesson hmasa bera I zawhna min zawh ang khanin enlet leila Did animals sense that a tsunami was coming ti zawhna min zawh tani chuan part 3 a chuanin a soita kan khanin animals mo ramsa ho hianin sixth sense thil lo hriat lawk theina an nei ani an ti mithiam ten an nei tak tak ani ti ron soi lo ma se hriat theina an nei ani ti kha mi zawng zawng in an ring ani chuanin hemi ni hian December ni somni paruk sang ni pali a mi tam takin nun na an chan lai khanin ramsa mo hmun hrang hranga ramsa tam tak chuanin an nunna an chan ve lo ani a chan chu thil lo thleng tur an lo hriat lawk theih thin awang khanin an mani kha an lo in sa seng hman ani mo hmun him an mani nunna an chan lo na tur hmun him hmun ral muang an lo zawng hmasa a an lo tlan chhiat awang khanin an nunna an chan lo phah ani okay alright and that is the end of the lesson